Welcome to another edition of Conversations of the Heart. It is your boy T Till. We have a special guest, an esteemed guest, friend of the show, Trice Reign. She is a certified holistic life coach, a relationship coach, an accountability coach, and so much more. Always good to have these conversations with Trice. She always brings an amazing perspective, and we're gonna have a great conversation today surrounding some topics. But before we get into that, I just want to give the opportunity to say, Trees, thank you for coming on the show. Really do appreciate you as always.
Yes.
And give the people just a little bit about yourself, what you do, and where they can find you and connect with you.
Ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee. What can I say? Okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Like, I am a repeat guest. That must mean something. That makes me feel really, really good because my boy T is amazing. I know you guys know that already. So it is an honor to be on his show. And I cannot wait to have you on the show on mine because my podcast is coming back. So
We
I am not only a podcaster, and
can't
my
wait.
podcast should be coming back. Me and my co-host have not decided on the exact date quite yet, but we are aiming for a launch in September. So next
Ooh,
month.
okay,
So
September. All right.
that's exciting. That is
Mm-hmm.
exciting because I got a lot to say.
Fire.
Um,
Oh, I know you do.
as Steve mentioned, I am a certified holistic life coach. Coaching is kind of like my life. It's not even just something that I didn't choose to be a coach. I've been doing this since 2016 legally. And prior to that, just on some being myself, helping people
Mm-hmm.
vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's ingrained in me. I coach everyone. I coach my kids. I coach. If you know me, you've had some coaching by me in some form or fashion. I promise you. So it's
That's a
a way of
fact.
life for me. I'm starting to get more into the teens. So I'm starting to show more of an interest into the teens. They have been drawn to me. I can foresee in the near future teen coaching being added as something that I do.
Okay.
It is our responsibility, in my opinion, to make sure that we look out for the youth in
Mm,
ways. I see so much neglect. So I plan on going in that direction to help with that void.
mm.
Um, so yeah, you can find me if you're into Facebook. I am on Facebook as Trice Reign. You may need to send me you can follow me. You can follow me on Trice Reign. You don't even have to be my friend. You can just follow me and watch some of my posts from there. Instagram, I am Trice Reign. I am rebranding. Is where you can find me. I am Trice Reign on Instagram and on TikTok. It is Trice Reign as well.
Mm. And be clear, it's R-E, right? It's Reign. Okay, not
Correct.
rain. Not
Correct. It's
rain
not this
down
kind of rain, it's
on
the
me.
rain
Listen,
supreme.
yeah,
Yes, like
yeah.
rain
It's not
high.
that kind of rain. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Absolutely.
Trish Rain. Yeah, she's out here making amazing things, making amazing content, posts and things like that that can help a lot of people. So definitely please follow, subscribe, whatever it is that you got to do. Follow her. I'll put all of the links in the bio. So therefore you can go ahead and it's easy for you. Just click and follow, subscribe, whatever it is that you got to do. Just
Appreciate
make
it.
sure that you follow her. So so today we are going to be discussing certain topics that's going through all social media. These topics on relationships that people like to fight over all the time. And I look and sometimes it's a little annoying and frustrating to me because I don't understand the fight, right? I think I understand the dialogue and what people prefer, but it's arguing over preference. It's arguing over things, right? So first thing, first topic, especially when it comes to relationships, I want to talk about the table. Okay. And I don't mean red table talk. I don't mean red table talk. I'm talking about the table. I want to talk about this table that everybody talks about, right? What does he bring to the table? What does she bring to the table? I am the table. No, I am the table. No, I'm this. Everybody's a table. Um, no, I mean, it's one of those things where everybody's just on this thing about tables and it arguing over who is the table. So I know you see it. I know you see it all over social media, as do I. So what do you think is the fascination with this table that everybody wants to talk about and be, right? And ask about the other person, right? What is it about this table? What do you think is the fascination behind this table talk?
First of all, T knows how much I hate this topic.
I do. That's why I wanted you on the show to talk about it.
We called him and ran into him about this damn topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing I want to ask is what table? Like, where is this table at? What does it consist of? And why the hell y'all keep mentioning it? Because it's figurative, I get it, but it's unnecessary. I have had debates about this on social media and off. And the fascination, I think, is because everyone, okay, this is how I look at it. I think people out here lack structure, and they want structure so much that everyone wants structure so much that we are like dying for there to be a format to dating, dying for there to be a format to how to look for a mate and how to qualify a mate and all of these things. But there is no format. How do you create a format for a society that is so diverse? We have all these different types of relationships that you could have.
Yeah.
Like you could choose whatever dynamic that you possibly want. It could be two women and a man, two men and a woman. I mean, a woman, two whatever and whatever, like two families, they could come together. Like there's so many different dynamics nowadays. It's not like it was back in the days where it was so cutthroat. And I think that's what it is. I think it's a crossover of people wanting to hold on to old traditions and also wanting to branch out into new ones. So it's like, figure it out. Like seriously, figure out which one you want to do, because you can't do both. It doesn't make sense. There is a disconnect in people understanding that table talk is the same talk as when I hear people talk about not societal norms, but basically, basically it is a societal norm, right? It's societal norms, and when you talk about when we talk about like back in the day, how men used to act like this and women used to act like this, and this was tradition. Men did this and women did this, and that's how it was. Okay. Well, things have changed. So now it's like, what do you usher in? And I think that's what it is. It's a lack of people knowing what to do, because since it's not 1960s and 70s anymore. Times have changed. Women are at work. Women aren't at home all the time like they used to be. Two family households bringing in income. It used to be one. Dynamics are changing, but people don't know exactly how to change with them. So you got men out here that want a traditional woman. They want a woman that will stay at home. Sorry, excuse me. They want a woman that will cook. They don't want a woman that will stay at home. They want a woman that will cook. They want a woman that will clean. They want a woman that will do all the things that grandma did, but grandma stayed home. Grandma didn't work.
Facts.
The women, they want a man that's willing to pay all the bills, and I'm sure you're going to probably talk about that later. It's a man that will pay all the bills, and and they could just chill. But the dynamic has changed. You're not working, so he's going to look at you like, what you doing with your money? These are different. People want traditional values in a non-traditional society, and they can't understand why it's not fitting. And so now it's all this talk and all this argument, and everyone wants to try to find out and figure out how they can make this work. This table was created somehow in that. And now this table is supposed to define a person's worth, I guess.
Yeah.
So what do you now bring to the table? Your worth is codependent on what you bring to this imaginary table. So now you, I guess as a woman or a man, have to figure out what it is that you are worth that you can bring to this imaginary table.
Yeah.
And then
we argue about it.
yeah, and no one can agree on what's supposed to be brought to this imaginary table. They know the table exists. That's all I know. All I know is the table exists. And people say I bring a lot to the table. And then some people say, forget that, I am the table. And then when I wonder, what does that mean? You're the table. What what does it mean when you say I am the table? Like, what does that consist? What does being the table consist of to you?
You said something that we're trying to squeeze in a lot of these norms, right? That was from 1960 into 2020. And these, I think the one thing is traditions are cool to a certain point, but not everything from the old really works. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, not everything is good from the old, right? Like, it's not. You're right. There's not everything from back in the day was good. Back in the day, when women couldn't work, they couldn't vote. Is that good? To me, no. To me, that's not
to normal society now. I would say no. They're fighting
right.
to be equal.
Right. And but to me, that's what it should be. It should be a woman should have as right to work as anyone else if she wants. She should have the right to build a business. She should have a right to vote for whoever she wants to vote for. Right. That's, to me, that's the way that it should be. But in changing those things and adding those things comes change. Right. It comes a lot of different. It comes, back in the day, all you have to do was just lie on your back and make babies and take care of them. You don't have to worry about paying for daycare, which almost could be like a rent payment or a mortgage payment in certain states, right? Like, you don't have to worry about that. Like, woman just took care of the house, no problem, right? Things are different now. In a lot of in today's society, things are different because women have lots of aspirations and goals, and not that they didn't before, but it's much different now that it's attainable. Women out here getting the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen, we got a woman as a vice president. That has to tell you everything,
right?
About
there are women out here, that's a fact, that's getting money and thriving in and loving what they do. Now, if you have somebody who doesn't want to work or who just wants to stay home and take care, there's a place for that too, right?
Yep.
There's a place. My thing is, there's a place for everything, right? But what we're doing, I think, in this dating society is we're trying to take all of that and trying to force feed that to everybody else. You need to think like this, or you need to think like that. You have to do it like this. You have to do it like that. And now we're getting everybody that's arguing. And it's like, it doesn't make, because you're right. I was going to go there. The whole 50-50 rule versus traditional, right? So people, that's a big argument on social media. Oh, you shouldn't be going 50-50 with no man, blah, 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 blah. And then you got other women that's just like, I don't mind going 50-50 because I work, I do this, I don't. And then it's like, girl, you don't know your worth. Girl, this, like, and it's like, not everybody's gonna do the same things. Like, not everything is uniform, right? Like, the point of it is the point of it is, for me, is to find whoever it is that matches what you're looking for.
Yeah.
To me, that's
no brainer.
Like,
no brainer.
Is it okay? Is it so simple that I'm stupid? Is it so that maybe? Is it so simple?
No, it's too simple. Listen, common sense is not common anymore. Remember when we was growing up and common sense used to be real common? Like, every time you turn around, everybody had common sense.
Facts.
Got common sense.
Facts.
So no. Simplicity is like, it's rare. It's rare. Everything's extra. But absolutely, there is no cookie cutter foundation for relationships. This is why it's so important for us as people, as adults, to know exactly who we are, because that's the nucleus.
Yep.
When we get to understanding who we are as a person, like, who are you? Like, that's the first key part in all of this is, who are you? Not social media, forget your granddad, your daddy, your mom, forget what you were taught to be, forget your titles, forget all of that stuff. Who are you at the core of your being? Do you know who
Correct.
you are? Once you can sit there and answer that for yourself, then you'll be able to say, what do I want? What are my wants? What are my needs? Do I understand the difference between my wants and my needs? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't. They think that what they want is what they need, and it's not necessarily that. Honestly, the best way to figure out what you need is by trying out a lot of different things. And through that, you figure out, I don't really want this and I don't need that. I don't want this and I don't need that. Because there's a lot. This is why, while everybody's saying what sounds good and ideally it does, but in reality, it doesn't work.
Right.
Everybody is talking about how things should be. People are living in an ideal society instead of reality. And social media is ideal. This isn't real. Like social media is not real. It's real, but it's not your it's not your created reality that we created. But you can log off of this reality. You can take off and never come back. You know what I mean? And you still have to deal with the flesh and blood while you're still in this avatar in this body. So it's like we need to start coming back to earth, like back to the reality of things. And in order to do that, you gotta kind of like put yourself out there and experience and experiment, because you can say what sounds good to you. Oh my God, I want this, I want that, I want this, and I want that. And then you turn around and you're like, you get it? Because a lot of times you want stuff until you get it. And then you get it and you're like, I don't really want this. I don't really like this. They're really for me. See, that's how you discover. It's like babies have to go through a discovery to discover certain things about, babies go through a discovery period. So do we as human beings, as adults. You go through a discovery period to discover who the heck you are and what you want and what you don't want.
Yeah.
Can you please stop that? And then from there, discovering my daughter. And then from there, discovering what you want and what you don't want. Now you have the nucleus. Now you got the key element to say, okay, I'm ready to get out here and I'm ready to start dating. I need this type of woman. I need this type of guy. This is what I need for my mate. Okay, guess what? 50-50 won't work for me. Why won't it work for me? Because I want some input. Because hold on, can we talk about this? Can we unpack this just a little bit? For the women that sit here and say, I want 100% to not pay any bills. I want that man to take care of all the bills. Do you know that the majority of our granddads that did that, they ran shit. They ran that house. They wasn't talking. Grandma wasn't collecting his money and him paying everything, and she was still talking back, and she was still out here in the streets, and she was still doing all of the stuff that a lot of young women like to do. Oh no. Oh no. When he said how he wanted things done is how it was done. For the women that love to say that a man is not a man if he's not paying 100%, well, guess what? A lot of the women who don't have to pay bills, they're submissive. And y'all hate that word, don't y'all? Y'all really don't like that word, do you? Submissive to y'all is that's a bad thing. So it's like, this is what I'm talking about when I say you gotta figure out what works for you. Because a man doesn't want you to be more of the submissive kind if he's paying all the bills. You will not be running stuff. You know what I mean? And he's paying all the bills. It don't work like that. So the 50-50 may be what's best for you, because you'll still have creative say. You'll still have input. You'll still have say as to what goes on. You know what I mean? In the household.
Good point.
What goes on. You'll still have a place to have, because I think when it's 50-50, it's often shared in a lot of ways, not just financial.
Right.
It's usually not so one-sided in a lot of ways. It's usually okay. Because a man who's willing to go 50-50 with a woman, a lot of times is willing to say, okay, well, then she also can help with the decision making. Okay, so it's not all on him. She also helps in that department. She also may help in other areas as well, where a man that is paying everything might be like, nah, I pay, I make the decision.
And I also feel that sometimes a man, and it's not all cases, of course, but a lot of men who do go, let's just say 50-50 sometimes, will also help out a lot with household stuff. And because a lot of women go, oh man, like I work, I do this and that, and he doesn't come help me. I'll be honest, a lot of men who do the, just I take care of everything, they're not doing a lot of housework. I promise you that.
They're not helping you.
No. So even if you do work, and you're keeping all your money, whatever the case is, and he's covering all the bills, I promise you that more times than not, you might have a couple of different guys here and there. More times than not, he's not doing a lot of the household stuff.
He expects you to do it because that is the trade-off.
That's the traditional mindset.
Financially, yeah.
That's a traditional mindset. So, and that's what I mean. Whatever side of the fence that you fall on, it's not wrong. It's not like, to me, it's not a right or wrong thing. If you're looking for a man to just pay all the bills, be honest about that and go find you a man. Now, what happens is in the middle of this process, you say that that's what you want, and then you go get a guy with 50-50 mindset. Or, like, who doesn't have any intentions. Because it's one thing to grow with somebody until you can get to the point where, okay, he takes care of all the bills. That's different. But you go and you get with the guy who believes that you should put in 50-50. And then what you do is you say that's what you want, and then you get with that guy because that's what you want. You want that guy, right? But that guy says, oh, I think, well, you need to go 50-50. Then after that, you get mad.
Yeah, because you know why? Those are the women that say, I can change him. Those women. You think you could change him. You think that, oh, well, he says, or the man, because you got to also look at it this way. Sometimes people don't give direct answers. And sometimes if you're dealing with, a man who's indirect or passive aggressive, as I like to call him, a man who is passive aggressive and a woman who is a fantasizer, they make a crazy duo. And I say that because what he didn't say is her fantasy of what could be. And he may not really know what he wants to do. So his inability to make a direct decision and her Disneyland, growing up on Disney, just hopeless romantic fantasizing mindset will have them both get involved in something and then realize later that they're not really a match because he wasn't bold enough to say directly what he really wanted, and maybe he didn't know what he really wanted at the time. Or he just wasn't bold enough to say it. And she took what he did give her and she kind of romanticized it and turned it into what she wanted to hear. Women fall in love with what they hear. Men fall in love with what they see typically. So that dynamic usually is how it goes. And then everyone feels like they've been bamboozled. Like they were dealing with the wrong person, when what it is as a woman, you have to, when you're going through your dating process, you have to ask that men be very direct. And you got to be a really good listener at that point and at that time. Because if he's direct and he's saying to you, I believe 50-50 is the way I'm going to do relations. That's how it should be done. That's what I'm going to do. Now, that type of man is not budging. He's not budging. But if he says, well, I'll be open, like some guys do this. And I actually talk to guys who've done it. Like, well, I'll be open to trying different things, or I'll be open to, 50-50, or I'll be open to, trying different things. That mindset right there, her running with you and then him deciding later that, nah, that's not really what I want to do, or I want to do it this way, could cause problems.
Right.
Why open communication is essential, and not hearing what you want to hear, but hearing what they really say is essential too. And you guys, when you guys are trying to hook up with people, you gotta really ask the hard questions. Stop being afraid to ask the questions that you need to ask. Because this finances can be the problem. That'll be the reason why you guys divorce or separate. Like, it's serious. It might not seem serious, but it is. And I agree with you. Find somebody that is like-minded, that thinks the way that you think. But first, you got to know what you really want.
Right. And know what you want, and don't go into something expecting the person that you can change them. You don't have that kind of power. And because everybody comes from different walks of life, you know, like, so some people might have come from a household to where they might have seen their parents do 50-50, and it worked. So they might say, well, that's what I want to do because I've seen it work, right? Whatever it is. Or you were in the household vice versa, to where you seen like the husband takes care fully of the household stuff, and you think that works. It's very important that, one, yes, we do find exactly what we're looking for, and trying not to change anybody else. Because truthfully, if everybody just went for who they really wanted to go for, right? And if whether it's 50-50 or the traditional, whatever the case is, people would be happy. But the problem is we're not doing that. And also, we're also forcing women sometimes to try to conform, because sometimes women may not be comfortable with a man paying everything, comfortable in a sense where they could see something different in their home growing up, right? Where their mother, put in for the bills and did this and had different lifestyles and whatever other case is, right? So, and they might say, you know what? Yeah, he makes enough for us, but if I add more, we could be living different, right?
Right.
He might could take care of the bills and everybody's gonna be set, right? But
Right.
what about the extra, right? There's different things, there's different, whatever it is, there's a lot of different moving parts to that, right? So this person might have seen that, right? And say, hey, you know what? I think I want to be a woman that wants to contribute, not to just taking care of the kids, but also financially, because I want to see our money go here, and here, right? So, but you're trying to tell that woman that she doesn't know her worth, and you're trying to push her to conform to something that she may not even want to conform to. And now
Right.
we're arguing all over social media about it.
Yep.
And honestly, it's only our people.
Yeah, and it's only our people because, again, we lack identity. And I don't know how else to say it other than we lack identity, and we're all trying to figure out how we're supposed to be doing this thing called life. But it is a journey that is to be figured out individually. We're not all meant to do the same thing. I would
We're not.
really be happy for the day when people stop judging other people and expecting themselves out of everybody around them. Like, everybody's not gonna be like you. They're not gonna think like you. They're not gonna walk like you. They're not gonna talk like you. They're not gonna act like you. Everybody is not you. So therefore, it's going back and forth. So therefore, you know what I mean? I just cannot wait to see the day where people are like, you know what? If that works for you, then that's good. No.
If you like it, I love it.
They gotta, instead of that, they gotta say, well, you stupid. Oh, you a pick me. Oh, you are this.
Oh, you a simp.
Labels. You a simp. Oh, the guys, you a simp. Oh, you a simp. For a man, some men feel as though a man that wants to pay all a woman's bills is a simp. And those are usually the men that don't have a lot of money. Or there are men that had a lot of money, but they dated gold diggers and they were taken advantage of by women who only wanted their money. So now their view of women is skewed. So now they feel like anybody that caters to women in a way is a simp because he wouldn't do it because of how he was burned. Everyone's projecting. Everyone's projecting their own traumas and own experiences, negative and all that, onto everybody else. It's just
you know what my favorite line?
Hopefully, I'm not dead and gone. No. I cannot wait for the day, if I'm alive, to see where everybody is just a respecter of persons and say, you know what? If that works for you, it works for you.
I love
what
it.
You eat don't make me.
That's 100%.
You know.
And I don't know, like it's very frustrating because you get to see all the arguments, that like long paragraphs of arguments going back and forth on social media. It's very interesting. I don't know. It's like we just said. People just got to do what's absolutely best for them. And throwing these names out like pick me's and simps and this and that, like it's ludicrous. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It's gotten ugly, more ugly, by the day. What I see on social media about arguing about love and relationships. Um, can you imagine that things can get so ugly over love and relationships and all those types of things? And now lots of different types of words now. Soft life, that was another word, about, Black women and should be able to embrace having a softer life, right?
Mhm.
Um, in which no argument there. I do agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But I think it all starts with trying to figure out just really what are you looking for in life? Like, and not just in a mate, but I mean in life. Because in finding out what you really want to do in life, you might can figure out how to pick your mate. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just I want us all. See, because it's not just Black women that have softer life. I want them to have a softer life. But I want Black men to have a softer life too.
Right.
Because a lot of us go through a lot of different things that we don't even talk about. It's
Right.
unbelievable. You could be married to somebody and you could be going through hell and your wife wouldn't even know. Because men just keep it in. The wife wouldn't even, I'm good.
Right.
I want everybody to live a softer life, but that also comes with self-discovery.
Mhm.
I think a lot, we glorify a lot of the struggle love. And a lot of times what we just talked about creates struggle love, where where
Mhm.
we where we meet somebody the opposite of what we really want.
Mhm.
I'm gonna marry a 50-50 guy, but truth be told, you really wanted the traditional guy.
Mhm. But
And
you,
that and
yeah.
then now y'all in a tussle. Now y'all in a real tussle because the reality hits and you gotta come up off these bills. You know what I'm saying? And now you gotta put in this money and now you gotta do things that you never really wanted to do. And now you gotta work when you really want to just take care of the kids. And now that breeds resentment. And
Yep.
then now you and your husband in strife when it's like you didn't even have to do that with this person. Like you could have picked somebody that aligns with what you really wanted.
Yep.
And then that creates what? Struggle. And now we're here. Right. So I think for everybody to have that softer life that we are looking for. I mean, it starts from a lot of different ways, but I mean specifically with relationships, it's like really knowing yourself. Like you said, knowing yourself, knowing what you really want
Yep.
out of a relationship and going for that, right? Not just, oh well, I can compromise on that, but it's like, no, you really can't. Most people who want a traditionalist can't compromise with a guy who's 50-50 because what you're going to do is going to breed relationships. You're going to go on social media, start blasting the guy, he don't take care of this and that. And then girls are going to chime in, yeah. Oh, my favorite of all time, my favorite quote on social media of all time. Well, if he's broke, then just say that. If he's broke, just say that. Like, that's the quote for me that's like women they run out of things to say, right? And it's just and it creates ugliness across the board.
Yep.
And it's like if you got with the guy who was a traditionalist, you would be happy, but you didn't. You would be happy, but you didn't. And now we're in divorce or whatever other cases. And I'm not shaming divorce at all. If it's not working, it's not working. But you
Right.
could save yourself a headache, right? By saying, hey, like, hmm, this is not really for me. And I'm the first one to say that because I went through a divorce. So I understand it. That's why I'm saying talking about it now. Because you can save yourself a lot of headaches and problems by just truthfully really going after what you really want. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there won't be a compromise here and there with certain things, but there are certain things that are non-negotiables. And
Right.
if a woman wants to do 50-50 and then marries a traditionalist, she's not gonna like that either.
No, she's not
She's
gonna be
not.
happy. She's
She's
not gonna
not.
be happy, and nor is he gonna be happy if he does the opposite of what he really wants. So you're absolutely right. You
And
gotta. I just feel like you were talking about struggle love,
mm,
and I feel like we can. Most people, that's all they know.
mm,
I feel as though the majority. I want to say the majority of men and women in this country. I can't speak about the world, but I can say in
right.
this country, the majority of men and women in this country do not have a good example of that soft love, that soft life,
Mm,
that soft relationship that you're speaking of. They don't have a mom and dad that had that. They don't have grandparents that had that. They don't have siblings or other peers that they can look up to that have that. I think healthy relationships are so rare. I speak about that on my page. They're rare nowadays.
mm.
Like even the ones where you say, oh, they've been together 30 years, a lot of times that 30 years was really, really toxic.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
we don't
A
talk
lot
about
of
that.
a lot of the older relationships that we've witnessed throughout the years, the love is there, but sometimes they sleep in different rooms. Granddad got another family on the other side of town that everybody
Mm-hmm.
knows
Mm-hmm.
about, that grandma put up with, or grandma has a side dude that everybody know granddad and Uncle Earl ain't Uncle Earl. Can we? I'm just being honest. Like
Talk.
it wasn't all. The illusion was there
Mm-hmm.
in the pictures. The illusion was there that this was this really good, beautiful, healthy family and this
Mm.
beautiful relationship. And we've been together and we still together 39
Mm-hmm.
years.
We done made it through.
But it's been 39 years of hell.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't had no peace, no way, no how. As they
And
would say in the country.
that's true.
So it's
But
like having like that relationship that you're speaking of is mainly seen in movies for a lot of people.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think struggle love has become a norm
Yes, unfortunately.
for people because they would rather have some form of love than no love at all.
Yep. 100%.
So for them, even if it's not perfect, even if it's sharing another person when they don't really want to share, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's getting some of your desires met or needs met and not all. Some people feel like it's better to have something than have nothing at all. And I think that's why struggle love exists. That and
Mm.
codependency.
Mm.
Um, there is a very high percentage of people who are afraid to be alone.
Mm.
Um, Abandonment issues and things of that
Yeah.
nature. They
Yes.
won't be alone. They will hop from person to person to person to person before they're alone. And feel comfortable alone.
Yep.
Um, and so when they do get in a relationship with someone, they're codependent on that person to fill all of the voids that they have within them. They're codependent on that person to be everything to them.
Mm. Mm.
Instead of doing the work that I think now that mental health is so widely spoken of everywhere, especially on social media,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not that people don't know what needs to be done. Not anymore. It's not like it used to be when people did not understand
Mm-hmm.
Mental health, or not even just mental health, understand issues within themselves that they may be
Yep.
having. I think
Yep.
people see it. You see it in memes. You see it on posts. You see it. Social media speaks about it so candidly. So
Yeah.
it's not like you don't see it. But
Right.
what it is when you start to do that work and you start to realize how hard it is for you to change yourself, how hard it is for you to face your own bullshit. I
Yep.
mean, how hard it is for you to become that person that you have that image on social media that you are, but you're not really.
Ooh-wee.
I think a lot of people know about that one. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's easier to distract yourself with love. It's
Mm.
easier for you to
Mm.
distract yourself with a partner,
Yep.
and to throw yourself into that relationship in such a way that now it takes your mind off of the stuff that you're lacking, the broken pieces, the pieces that aren't quite right within
Yep.
you, until that person does something to trigger you.
Mm.
Then it becomes an issue, and that's
Know
when
your
you take to
triggers.
social media and you start to talk about them,
Yeah.
and you go and you rant and you say
Yep.
about them, and then you turn around at night and y'all kiss and make up, and you right back into.
You
Did I
brought
just
some.
describe a lot of people's relationships?
Yo, you brought something to, because I was gonna bring this up. You beat me to it. Thank you. Um, Mental health, because, and you brought up the old school relationships, because we have a thing about traditional relationships, right? Grandma and great grandma, they've been together 40 something years, have 12 kids, right? Which is beautiful if it's healthy. And I think that's the caveat, if it's healthy. A lot of times, especially in the Black community, we don't talk about, what happens in this house stays in this house, right? We don't talk about the family secrets now, right? So,
Mm.
so what you're idolizing a lot of times, you don't even really understand. Like sometimes could be an unhealthy relationship just because they stayed together 40, 50 years. It's only great if it was healthy. I don't mean
Mhm.
perfect. I mean healthy.
Mhm.
So it's like the difference is now with this generation is people are getting help. They're going to therapy. They're doing the work to say, you know what, this ain't for me. If I have to get a divorce, I get a divorce. Yeah,
Mhm.
holy rollers can just do what y'all want. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, because that's also a thing. Sometimes maybe I'd like to hear your opinion, but sometimes I feel like also organized of religion sometimes also puts a lot of pressure on you to stay
Stay together.
in unhealthy relationships, right? And I think sometimes too that does play a part of people kind of staying in unhealthy relationships. And for 30, 40 years, it's like your life goes and you're sitting next to somebody that you're not even thriving with. You're just existing with.
Mhm.
And it's just like, oh man, like you wake up and it's like you're 70 something years old and you're like, man, my life just went. And I stayed here because of the kids. I stayed here because of an array of different reasons, right? But never for the right reasons.
Mhm.
And the difference is now we have a younger generation of people that's very active in therapy, mental health, and it's like, no, this is not okay. Like, in what way? And that's the same thing with jobs, and people would stay in unhealthy jobs for years
Mhm.
because, oh, this is stressful, but I'm just gonna do it. And then we said that was strength. We said, oh, look at that, he's strong. When is strength just doing something that's detrimental to your health?
Mm.
But that's what we glorify, because
Yeah.
that's what was modeled for us,
Mhm.
right? Is struggle, right? And it's just like, man, like, where did we go wrong? But that's what we idolize, the old
Perpetual
traditions.
state of survival. We're
Mm-hmm.
constantly in survival mode to
Facts.
the point where it has become idolized. It has become idolized. But you know what? You're right. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Mm-hmm.
real quick, I just wanted to say this. I'm starting to see, I don't know if you've been paying attention, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you have,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm starting to see a lot more women and men that are from the like younger
Mm-hmm.
generations, like I would
Mm-hmm.
say 30s and 20s. They're rejecting relationships altogether. It's people out here that are starting to say they don't ever want to get married. It's
Facts.
people out here that are starting to say that they will be forever single. And they're not just saying it because they feel that way. Some people are starting to be okay with being single to the
Right.
point where they don't want companionship.
Right.
This is what's it's so much pain, that struggle, that survival, all of this stuff we've gotten used to, and the pain associated with it when we take that mindset into our relationships and hurt the people that we love. and and are hurt by the people who supposedly love us, right?
Yeah.
And now people are rejecting it. They're so afraid of getting hurt. They're so afraid to put, or they're tired. They're
Mm.
tired or they're afraid. And they're saying to hell with it all. This is what
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to see.
Yeah. And and it's very true because a lot of young people just like, man, I'm about to just be in my career and just live my life. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna
Mhm.
do a lot of just different things for self, and just roll. And to a point, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of dysfunction that comes with a lot of different relationships. But also that's also a lot of it is in turn because you haven't done the work on yourself either
I agree.
to understand like what that healthy partner would look like, right?
Right.
And not just what you want, but what does a healthy partner really look like? You know what I'm saying? For you.
What does a healthy you look like? Because I think it
Facts.
all begins with us. I feel like if every man and every woman took the time to actually said, you know what, forget, yeah, you know what, I agree with y'all. Forget relationships. Be single. You know why? Because in your singleness is where you can find the best version of you.
Mm.
Instead of chasing after every woman and every man that look good and always trying to have sex and do all this, men ain't go. I said this to my friend the other day. I said, men ain't going nowhere. Where they going? Where men going? They ain't going nowhere. Where the women going? They ain't going nowhere. They're
Right.
not going nowhere. You're not missing out on nothing. You're not missing out on anything by focusing on yourself for
Right.
a season. And this doesn't
Yeah.
have to be a lifetime. For
Yeah.
a season.
Season. Right. Yeah. 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 And um, I think a lot of that is just to make sure that also that knowing your traumas, I think we lived from generation to generation, not understanding trauma, not understanding triggers, not understanding really just what hurts you. We're always in this mode of just like, just go. Like, all right, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just go time. And it's like you gotta stop and say, man, like, did this hurt me? Because we always have a complex, I think. And I think it's across the board, but I'm from New York. You know what I mean? I'm from the borough. You know what I'm saying? I'm from New
From
York
the
City.
borough.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So this the hardness that comes with that, right? Like there is a brashness and there is a hardness that does come along with that, like mentally. Like it's just like, man, like I don't need nobody. I'm good dolo. I'm good for self. And it's like that hardness sometimes it's not good, right?
Nice.
But a lot of times, like we breed that, like like yo, this is, it's a city of dreams. Like yo, you sleep when you dead. Sleep is a cousin of death, and it's like yo, man, that's really not true. Like I grew up on that so hard. Nah, I'll be honest, I grew up on that so hard. Like, and I would quote it. That was one of my favorite quotes in my 20s. Yo, I sleep when I'm dead. But then when you do, that's ignorant. Like, but when you realize, yo, I kind of need sleep to live. I kind of need sleep to live a long time to be able to grind, to be able to work and grind and make money, build businesses. I need sleep. But we're in such hustle mode all the time.
Yep.
And that
Everything's
affects your
about money
family. Yes.
or yep. Always yep. Always.
But why is it about money? Because it's like, because guess what? If you're broke, just say that. Right? But why is
He said
everything
if you
about money?
broke,
Like, if you're not flying me out, then you broke. Just say that. You know what I mean? Like, if you broke, just say that. You know how y'all, you know what I mean? Like, y'all get in y'all bag, right? Like, y'all get in y'all bag and y'all talk crazy. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is. It's money, right? So we get in our bags and it's like, oh, we got to get this money, 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 money. Yeah, yeah. But we neglect this. We
we
neglect our
neglect
mental
this
health
and
in it.
this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you don't fix your mental health, a lot of times you'll start to crumble on the inside. And then that can manifest into sickness physically. And it's like we don't see those things like stress, trauma, like those things manifest as heart attacks. Why do you think men die early first? They don't want to go to therapy.
Yep.
They don't
You
want to
ain't
go
never
to
lied about that. I said, listen, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you
no,
off.
go ahead.
When I on a post. I put on one of my posts and I said, men are losing when it comes to the game of mental health, men are losing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I do not want my son to be anything like this generation of men. And I said that. And somebody got on my post and said, basically was trying to ask me why I felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
And did I feel that way about women and men in general or just men? I said, no, men. After 5 years of working at a mental health clinic, let me tell you something. The majority, I would say 85% of the people that I saw were women.
Mm.
The remaining percentage of men that I did see, out of them, the majority of them were court mandated to be there.
Yeah.
Meaning, without a court or a judge saying you must be here, they weren't there for that. It was a small percentage that was there because they voluntarily went. And then some of them, and then I have to take that and divide it by the drug addicts. Because, drugs, they would say that they need, it would be a drug that they're addicted to, actually. I know that's kind of sad. That's the downside of the mental health, is the drugs that they give sometimes create addicts.
Well, here's the thing, but the stigma, but here's the thing about that. Just because you go see a therapist, they don't have to prescribe you medication.
No.
But I want to say that because in our community,
that's what we think.
I don't want them to medicate me, bro. I'm like, oh, like that's not even how it works, fam. Like, no, that's not even how it works.
Hold on, let me explain this real quick. If you go see a counselor, your counselor can't prescribe you anything. Counselor just gives you counseling. Yes. What counseling is like for those people who haven't had it, it's just like what we're doing now. You sit down and you talk to someone, and mind you, the first counselor that you meet is likely not going to be a great fit either. So it's okay to say, I don't like this person. I want a man. I want a woman. I want a black person. I want a white person. I want a Mexican person. I want a whatever is most comfortable to you. You can ask for it. Basically what it is just sitting and talking and getting comfortable and talking about your experiences instead of holding them in. That's the first step. After that, and hold on, the number one key to it, counseling doesn't work if you fake with yourself. If you're the type of person that lie to yourself, if you lie to everybody around you and you lie to yourself, counseling's not going to work for you.
Yep.
It only works for the people who are real and ready for change. For the people who are ready to expose the ugliness in themselves. They're ready to face the truth. If
Therapy
you're not ready,
is a mirror.
It's not going to work for you.
Therapy is a mirror. And you may not like what you see, but if you stick with it, you'll love what you see after it's all said and done. And I think and there's such a stigma surrounding therapy, and also, so for the Christian people out there who believe that all they got to do is talk to their bishop or pastor, I'm gonna tell you this right now: there are Christian therapists out there that specialize in therapy, so that they are Christian and they are therapists. Because here's the thing: your bishop, your preacher, your pastor is not qualified to diagnose you. Nope. He is not licensed. He is not a therapist. He doesn't deal with things with depression and anxiety and other things, right? And just like you wouldn't go to him if you broke your arm and it's hanging off like this, and you wouldn't go to him and say, "Can you fix my arm?" He can't fix up here. He is the source. Yes, there's nothing wrong with talking to him. So please be clear, because you got to be clear, because people be attacking you for this. Be clear. I'm not saying don't talk to him. What I'm saying to you is, if you're gonna start counseling, and if there's a preference, there are Christian mental health therapists out there that you can have Christian-based mental health therapy. There is no excuse. There is no excuse, because for a long time, religion. Oh no! You're not praying enough. You're not believing enough. You're not talking to the bishop. You're not talking to the pastor. You need to go in the back or get baptized 3-4 times and get the devils out of you. It is not that.
No,
it is not that. We got to be honest, because in our community, this is what happens. Stigmas and all types of things that happen with mental health. And it's like, oh, like, no, it's not that you're not praying enough. You could pray 20 times a day and still come out with these mental health issues.
Right.
Do the same thing. You know what you do? If you're gonna pray, pray that God moves you to the right therapist. Just like you probably do for the doctor that you go to, the OB, the whatever doctors that you go to that you want to be for you. You pray that the God sends you the right doctor. You pray that God sends you the right surgeons. It's the same thing for your mental health. The problem is it's different with us because with mental health, it's like, oh no, I'm not crazy. And first of all, it has nothing to do with being crazy. It has nothing to mental health has nothing to do with being crazy. We
No.
we we grieve things every day,
Yes.
different things, and now more so now at a rapid rate than before of our previous generations because of everything that we've pumped through with social media.
Yep.
We see people dying all the time. There's people they're
Yep.
posting all types of stuff about everything and people dying over here. Oh, there's a recession over here. There's people losing their jobs over here. There's monkeypox. There's COVID. There's natural disasters and wildfires. It's like we're being fed information at such a high rate. People grieve these things. And we don't realize it. Like we follow also social media accounts that make us depressed,
Yep.
anxiety, because we compare ourselves to other people,
Yep.
right? And it's like, no, man, you need to go talk to somebody about this because
Absolutely.
it's anxiety, it's depression, it's a lot of stuff.
It's PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting that at a rapid rate. Not only is it from, watching people get shot down,
In the street.
neighborhoods, but
Yep.
it's also from, like you said, everything on social media. The cops, when the cops kill somebody, that causes it, and it's on video, and we get to see somebody get shot 60 times.
These
Stuff like
videos are
that.
crazy.
All of that stuff affects your mental health, whether you think it does or it doesn't.
It
Either
does.
even if you feel like you're desensitized to it, that is a
Mm-hmm.
response. It's a trauma response.
You know
It's a
what's
trauma response. It's a way that your brain is trying to protect you from the things that you're taking in that is negative.
you know what's funny? I never said this out loud before, but it's so true. In my 20s, I never had a fear of cops. But in this social media era of everything that we've been seeing, like I'm talking about like afraid to get pulled over in a sense, like like because I used to get pulled over all the time for just stupid stuff that I used to do when I was younger, just very stupid.
And you
No,
live in the city. I
yeah.
already listen.
So it's another story for another day, but I used to get pulled over all the time, get ticket. I just never blinked an eye normally. Like whatever. Now I'm sitting here like, yo, oh, God, please don't let me get pulled over by these cops. And I'm like, when did that shift? When did that shift happen to where before I was like, take it, write me to, right? Like I didn't even care or whatever, right? So now I'm just like, oh God, don't let them pull me over. And I'm like, when did this happen? When did this shift
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of it is what we see. And you're like,
Mhm.
man, I didn't now all this stuff absolutely was still going on before, but we don't
Mhm.
know it as much as we do now. We have a lot of access to a lot of information, and it's like, it's too much. COVID, they got monkeypox, and I'm like, oh, don't touch my skin. Oh, damn. Like it's just like, what are we doing, right? It's just a lot of information and it makes you fearful. It's just a lot of stuff that we have to address and be honest with ourselves that we really have to address in order to have a healthy relationship with ourselves first, like you said, and then have the ability to then have a healthy relationship with others, right? And have also, I know this isn't the topic, but also have healthy friendships too
Mm.
that
Yep.
allow us to have safe spaces, right? Because we can have a lot of people that party with us and happy hour with us, but they're not really safe spaces.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole
So
talking about friends. That's a whole show by itself.
I know, it's not the topic. I just wanted to bring that up. Um, last topic rather. The importance of intentionality, right? In first, how important is intentionality with, of course, like, because we're gonna get into this, a partner. We're gonna get into that. But first, intentionality with yourself.
Mm.
Like, how important is having that intentionality with yourself? Because to me, If you cannot have intentionality with yourself, how can you have it with somebody else? If you can't make promises to yourself and keep them, how can you make promises to other people and keep them? This is my opinion, but I want to hear yours.
I think you pretty much summed that up. I think you did a good job with that one. But yeah, again, like I don't know how else to not stress that knowledge of self is where it all begins.
Mm-hmm.
In knowing ourselves and taking the time to know ourselves. How do you do that? Like, how do you take the time to know yourself? Because to know your own intentions, and that's basically what you're saying. What are your intentions towards yourself?
Mm-hmm.
What are your intentions towards
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Because like whenever you go to somebody's parent, right? Oh, I wanna marry your daughter. Yeah, or I want to date your daughter, excuse me. Well, what are your intentions? Right? Always a question, right? That's always a question. Well, what are your
it
intentions?
used to be.
Right, right.
Listen, I think you're saying your age right now.
You gotta relax. All right, you gotta relax. but but yeah, but that's what it is. So my thing is, so what my question is, what is your intentions with yourself? What is your intentions with you? I think
If you're
that's
asking me what my intentions
no,
are
no,
with
no, no,
me,
no. You don't have to get people all that. I'm just saying, I think that's
okay.
the question I think we should be asking ourselves first before we talk about somebody else, like that
Right,
part of it, right? But what is his
right.
intentions with what is his intentions with me? I need to know what's his intentions with me. Girl, what is your intentions with yourself first?
I agree.
Right?
I agree. Can't
You
say
owe
anything
you.
wrong.
No, I'm just saying, I just feel like
What did I say about this one?
because you owe
Listen,
yourself everything. You owe you first, right? And then after that, it's like, all right, I'm set. Like and I don't mean just financially. I just mean, but you know, like you're sound. Like you're a sound individual. You are just good. You're set mentally, emotionally, and it's like, all right, now I know how I can be intentional with somebody else because I gave it to me first.
that's just like being real. That's what it sounds like. When I'm listening to you talk, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you're basically saying, to what degree are you real with you? Because until you determine what degree you're real with yourself, you can't truly be real with anyone else.
Mm.
Like, and that's great. It's the truth though, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people out here that can give you a laundry list, that can sit down and write a list of what they want in a mate, but can't sit here and tell you what they want out of themselves.
Mm-hmm. True.
What do you want from you?
It's
What do you
like, yeah,
expect from you?
yeah,
What are your
yeah.
you expect X, Y, and Z from this man that you don't know?
Mm-hmm.
For him to come into your life and fulfill it in all these different ways. But what are your expectations if you're gonna have any? Because I personally don't believe those things. I don't believe there should be heavy expectations in a mate.
Mm. Mm.
However, I do believe there should be some expectations in yourself.
Mm.
So, what are your expectations of you? What are your intentions with you? What do you see yourself doing with you?
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly where it is. And so then once you get that and once you kind of make promises to yourself and you keep them and you give yourself like you owe yourself the world and you make sure that you're on that wave. Now it's time to kind of be intentional with a partner, right? Um, so what does intentionality with the partner look for you? Like what does that look like for you?
Hmm. For me personally,
Yeah. Yeah. In case
my
anybody's watching and
intentions
want to shoot their shot. No, I'm
I
just kidding.
hey, listen, no.
Hey.
But okay, so for me personally, my only intentions is to bring 100% me
Mm-hmm.
to every situation.
Mm.
I'm going to be me and I'm going to be true to me
Mm.
in every situation.
Yep.
I'm going to bring integrity to every situation. And
Mm.
I like how you said that, because my motto with me is it all starts and begins and ends with me. Total accountability on my behalf when it comes to what I bring into any relationship. Forget a table, me. And
Mm.
I say that because for me, I feel like I can only be as loyal to someone else as I am to myself. I can only trust someone else as much as I trust myself. I can only love someone else to the degree that I love myself. For me, I am where it all begins. So I am always, this is how I feel today in 2022. Out of all the relationships I've been in, and out of all the failed attempts I've had at love, out of every situation that I've learned from, and I've learned a lot. This is what I can say. My intentions is to be pure and be me, because I will never go wrong or have any regrets. If I'm 100% true to me. My mate, whoever I decide to choose as my mate.
Listen carefully, fellas. I mean, this conversation, I said, listen up, fellas. I mean, this is conversation of the heart. We might have to make some love connections of the heart here. So, fellas, just listen up very carefully to Trice Reign, please.
Whoever I choose to be my mate is going to get me being honest to myself, loyal to myself, respecting myself, and he's going to get integrity. So in that, because I'm doing that for me, he then in return can feel comfortable to look for those things to be given to him, because I'm giving them to me first. I'm not looking for him to be my source to receive those things. I am loyal to me. So I'm going to be loyal to you because I'm loyal to me. I'm going to be honest with you because I'm honest with me. I'm going to love on you because I'm going to love on me. You know what I mean? I'm going to always put me first. And I know that sounds selfish, but that is the only way that I can truly say that I love someone else freely. In a free way, and not a possessive way in which I possess him like, you're mine, you belong to me, you're my possession, I own you. I don't own anyone. And no one owns me. In life, I've learned that people are supposed to be free to be seasonal when that is what they are here for. We are supposed to be like water, including in our relationships. So therefore, when someone beautiful comes into my life, my arms are open to receive him. And when that beautiful person is ready to leave, my door is open to allow him. You know what I'm saying? I just want the experiences. I want the experiences more than I want to possess a man. That's where I'm at right now. I want the experiences more than I want to possess. And yes, I want a husband. I want my own in that way, to where I can say this is my own, but not in a possessive way, but in a way in which he feels free. I want my husband to feel free in a relationship with me. Not like, oh, if I do this, my wife gonna, oh, if I do that, she gonna, oh, if I do this, she gonna.
Those be the worst relationships.
No, I don't want to, I'm not.
Suffocating.
I don't want to control a man. I'm not looking to be in control over anyone but me.
And so, in saying that, that's what you're going to do, right? But what does intentionality look like on the receiving end for you, right? And I want the fellas to please pay attention to the sounds of Trice Reign and what she's about to say, because I know she's gonna say something, right? What do you think is intentionality? So if a man wants to court you and to date you, I know they have to be intentional. But what does that look like for you, right? What does that mean to you for them to be intentional?
Authentically himself. Authentically himself. A man with high knowledge of who he is and where he is in his life. High understanding of himself is key. He won't understand me fully in how I feel and how I think if he has no understanding of who he is. Intentionality His intentions just need to be pure towards himself, because then again, he can be pure towards me. He will never be real with himself if he's with me if he's not real with himself. So I need it. It all starts. It all starts with him as well. So all that I like natural chemistry. I like natural suitability. I like natural, unity. I like it all to come and flow. I don't like to feel like I'm in control and I'm controlling anything. So I don't want anything that feels forced.
Got you.
I want it to just be organic. So we meet organically. Like I don't like we meet, or even if he hit me up like I find you attractive, I like the way you think, blah, 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 you know what I mean, and that's fine. Right. But it needs to be an organic, it has to be an organic connection.
Yep.
We organically have things in common. Compatibility, the chemistry when we meet is there naturally without any force. We feel the strong attraction towards each other. Suitability, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Are we suitable for each other's character, morals, things of that nature? Are we suitable? You know what I mean? These things matter. People think it doesn't, but it matters. You know what I mean? Suitability is probably more important than compatibility. No, because that's the stuff that changes. It will change.
Facts.
But your personality is not going to change much. And your morals probably won't change that much either. So all I want is genuine connection. So intentions is to just be himself and be true to himself. And then in return, mirror that to me. That's it.
Love it. So fellas, you know what to do.
Here we go.
Start DMing right now. If I had a hotline, I'd tell you to call in right now. 1-800. No, I'm just kidding. But definitely appreciate you for coming on the show. I think we're gonna leave it on that note because I think that is just important. That topic of intentionality, I think it's very important for yourself as well as for others and how you show up for them too. But I appreciate you for coming on the show. I appreciate your time, your efforts, your wisdom, your insight. I'm looking forward to the podcast. I'm looking forward to hearing all the good things that you have going on. I'm always available to you. You know, whenever you want me to come on the show, just holler at me, let me know.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I'm always available to you. And keep up the great work with the business and the coaching. You know, people need this type of common sense coaching. You know, there's a lot of different types of coaching out there. You know, I'm not gonna bash any coaching, you know what I'm saying? But there's lots of stuff out there that's just for the money and that's just for the clout.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? You know, I ain't gonna knock it, go get your bag, but but when it comes to impact coaching, that's something different. You know what I'm saying? And you're very impactful, and I appreciate you always for always being willing to come on the conversation of the heart and having these always insightful conversations. And I'm always looking to move the needle and have insightful conversations that's going to help the community. So you always bring the A1 game. So I really do appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for watching us.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna drop the links and how you can follow Trice Reign. So you'll be able to get it right here. Yeah, definitely follow her, keep up with her, tune into her podcast when it drops in September, or she'll keep you updated on all of those things. And be sure to click and subscribe to the YouTube channel for Conversation of the Heart, as well as follow on all audio podcast platforms. And we'll see you next week for another edition of Conversation of the Heart. It is your boy T-Tail. This has been Trice Reign. Appreciate y'all. Peace.